Hello there, I am Tarina and today we are going to talk about Winx Club Season 1. Let's start! Winx Club! Winx Club was a show that I watched when I was a teenager. I really liked it. I was hooked. The only problem was that it came through television, so I missed a lot of episodes. But I remember I just loved the show. And now that Winx Club has been so talked about, I really wanted to rewatch the show as an adult. Now that it's in Netflix, it was so easy to watch it. Here are my thoughts. At first, when I started to watch it, I realized that it reminded me of like old video games. The animation was kind of a bit glitchy and the pacing was bad.
Thanks for helping me out.
Oh, it was nothing.
My name is Stella.
Hi, Stella.
After a while, you get used to it.
Ah, I burned myself. Ah.
Careful, Dad.
But because of that, there are many unintentionally funny moments. I laughed so many times watching this show. In places where I really shouldn't be laughing.
See you later!
So when you're watching this, you need to have a certain mindset because as an adult you see that it's kind of cheaply made. In the first episode, Bloom just accidentally sees a fairy battling a troll. She has never seen magic before, but she goes and tries to help the situation. Then she sees that she has magical powers of her own and eventually takes the fairy to her home where her parents are like, that looks like a fairy, and she's like, yep, I think I'm a fairy too. And then the fairy wakes up, she's like, hey, you're a fairy, you should come to a magical school with me, let's go. And there's a moment where I see her parents think about this situation, but when they see that Stella has magical powers and they see that magic exists, they're like, I guess so. Her dad is kind of suspicious of everything, which is understandable.
She's some kind of fairy.
I see.
You believe me then?
No!
But at the same time, I just love that her mom is instantly like, okay, if you're a fairy, you need to be educated about fairy things. Yes, go to the fairy school then. They just believe in her. I think this is a good thing because this teaches children to trust their parents. I like this more than the children's shows constantly having children lie to their parents. Then the troll finds Stella again and Stella gets the feel that she needs a bit of help with this battle and calls up them boys.
Ribbon, Prince Sky,
Hey.
Timmy, and Brandon, Prince Sky's squire.
Hello.
I didn't realize that the boys are on the first episode already. I'm liking it. I remember when I was a kid, I just loved the romance in this show. Straight from the beginning, they're like, here are the boys, girls, be ready for some action here. I'm the traditional type of female. If I had a girl Barbie, I would find an action figure to date my Barbie. It is just a thing that many of us females do. Then there is this moment.
You know, it would be easy for me to straighten up everything with a little magic.
Thanks, but I prefer this one.
Sir, there is a hole on the floor. How are you going to fix that? Just let her use her magic, you idiot. On the second episode, Stella has a weird plan to get Bloom inside the school. She wants Bloom to pretend that she's actually Princess Callisto, who changed her mind for some reason.
What now? I'm not on the list.
Yes, you are. I think of everything. The Princess of Callisto was supposed to come here this year, but she changed her mind for some reason.
Stella, what did you do to Princess Callisto? Hashtag, where is Princess Callisto? Call help! Then they meet their roommates. Flora, a flower fairy, Musa, a musical fairy, and Tekna, a technological fairy. When you're a kid, you don't really question their names, but now I'm like, did their parents know that they would have these powers? Or like, did they get to decide it when they were older? Or are their whole family named like this? Like, is Flora's mother Planty, Musa's mother Notesy, and Tekna's mother Electri? By the way, Bloom is a fire fairy and Stella is a sun fairy. Bloom's name makes sense. She was raised in the human world and the parents didn't know. But Stella, Why isn't she named Sunny? I need to know these things. Please explain! They decide to go to the town and have dinner together, and they instantly become friends. And I think this is realistic. Like, I know plenty of times when I've just met my schoolmates and became close friends just because we just happened to be there together. Like, they are all from different countries. Now that they're together, they just basically have to become friends. And they do have their dramas, like Stella is a loud ass.
It's just that I can't do anything right today.
And that's news?
Flora in one episode does some plant experiments and almost kills Tekna.
Yes, I asked Tekna to keep a few seeds in the dark inside her closet.
But like still, they work it out and keep on being friends. Also, Bloom's personality is very much like, how do you say this? Bloom is ready to help you and try and keep everyone at peace. Please comment down below what horoscope that could be. I kind of love that when Bloom goes to the city, she's disappointed. She was expecting dragons, wizards, magic wands. I get it. I would be disappointed too. All there is like flying cars. But I like how the world of Winx is different than what is expected. Then we meet the 3 witches and we hear their plan to steal Stella's scepter that she has on her ring. Bloom secretly follows them and tries to listen to their plans. But then the witches notice her and we see this creative way that they catch her.
Move, you big oaf, I can't see a thing.
Now all I have to do is disappear. And she'll stay here.
That's better.
I like how they use magic in this show. They have so many different creative ways. Unlike Harry Potter in the later series, where they basically use their magic wands as guns that just blast away. Then the other girls come and save Bloom and we see the first magical girl transformation. Okay, I'm going to go to a very random tantrum. In one episode, they do a trick on the Trix and they give her a tiny egg. The Trix think that the scepter is in there, but it's actually a tiny bird that the Winx have decided to give to the evil witches.
Oh, I hate him! I hate him!
Isn't this animal cruelty? Like, what logic is this? Hey, I know this horrible person. Let's give her an innocent living being. I do not understand this. What are you teaching to the children? Imagine if instead of giving them an innocent bird, they are doing like a class in the forest and they happen to meet this tiny troll that doesn't care about them at all. Tekna goes and does a scan on the bird and then she's like, this troll bird is called Masi, which is a play on word on masochistic. Masi birds like when people treat them badly, so when they find an evil person, they attach to them and never leave them alone. And then they're like, that's silly, let's go on. But then on the end of the episode, they're like, we need to do something to the Trix. And then they send that troll bird thing in an egg to them. And then it's like the bird gets happier the worse it's treated. That's a creative, magical being. I'm an artist. Okay, let me just give you now a little rundown on what happens in Winx episodes in general. They help each other with schoolwork. Trix tries to ruin things by stealing Stella or Stella's ring. In one episode, they basically just steal Stella completely, but she didn't have the ring at that time. The plan failed. They help each other through that. Relationships happen between the girls and the boys. Stella talks about clothes and herself. Riven is an asshole.
Yeah, and next time you have a party, don't bother to invite me, alright?
Musa is sad that she has a dead mom. And because Riven doesn't like her. Flora does some plant magic. Bloom tries to learn about her history and where she came from. And Tekna is acting suspiciously like a robot.
Plasmatic evanescence apparition, level 26.
Hey, Tekna. What's soccer? Come, I'll show you. It's a game you play with the ball. Let's take this for example.
That's not a ball.
Couple of weird moments that I want to talk about. What happened here?
Today's exercise will be rather difficult.
Professor Palladium, a mosquito just bit me.
Yes, well, we are near a swamp, and it's just a mosquito. No big deal.
Look where it got me.
Oh, my. What I meant...
Did they just sexually harass the teacher? Did the teacher like that? Why is this in a kid's show? I'm confused. Soap, rinse and dry song is a bop.
Soap, rinse, dry. Soap, rinse, dry.
And Bloom has the most epic dance move that I've ever seen.
It went well, huh? You bet.
This scene.
I lost my mother when I was still very young.
Muse, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have asked. All right, it's a beautiful day and there's a party in town.
Stella is a legend. And this scene.
Yeah, woohoo! All right!
A rose for you, madam.
Thank you.
Yeah, woohoo! All right!
I might have dramatized those moments a bit to make them more funny, but you see my point there. There is a scene where Riven completely crosses the line. He is very much third-wheeling, and Prince Sky tries to tease him about the fact that he doesn't have any girls cheering him on.
Stella's cheering for me, Bloom's cheering for Brandon, but you don't have anyone.
And Riven gets offended, and then he tries to make it a competition.
If I win the race, I get to pick one of your fairy friends to be my escort at the ball this evening.
Which is really disrespectful and rude. Brandon says that Riven is being stupid.
This is stupid.
But he goes on and says that if he wins, he would choose Bloom as his prize.
Bloom, is that a deal?
Bloom goes instantly after Riven, says that she gets to decide who she dates and she would never date Riven.
Who do you think you are? Just so you know, I choose who I go out with. And I wouldn't go out with you if you were the last guy on earth.
Riven just goes on, starts touching Bloom's face and says that.
I think deep down you like me.
And then you can see like Brandon really getting angry, getting ready to beat Riven up. But Bloom is already on it, and she has a flower plant, and she pours the water from the plant straight over Riven, and everyone laughs at him. Riven then leaves angrily. I really like this scene. I like that the boys let Bloom fight her own fight. That really shows that they respect Bloom, and they think that she can take care of herself. And the men really didn't play Riven's game. They saw that the game was beneath them. Good for you guys. I hate seeing that. She's mine. No, she's mine. No. Let the girl show who she wants. At this point, the tricksters start doing their magic, and they figure out that the magic they were searching for was not inside Stella's ring. It was Bloom. The magic is inside Bloom. And now they change their attack technique to attack Bloom all the time. Hey, I have a side message. Please subscribe to my channel. I really need the help. Nothing else, let's continue. There's another moment where we see how her mother just trusts Bloom. Bloom goes back to see her parents and goes help her mom at her mom's flower shop. At that time, Bloom starts to realize that she can see people's auras. Two men come to the shop and they are trying to do business with the mom. They're like, we want to buy this shop. And her mom is like, ooh, fascinating. And then Bloom sees that the men have evil auras. Very evil. The Bloom is like, I don't know how to tell this to my mom, but the mom is like, Bloom, I can see something is bothering you, just tell me. And then Bloom is like, they are evil, I can see their auras. And the mom is like, okay, I want to do business with them. And that's it. And then the thing that they have to now overcome is the fact that evil men didn't get what they want. So what do you do now? Because the evil men will come after you. So now they need to cope with the fact that evil people will do evil things anyway. In the episode 14, I just love Brandon and Bloom's relationship and how Brandon he always says the right thing.
Bloom, what's wrong? Is it something I said?
It's not you, Brandon. I was just thinking about my parents.
Oh.
There are so many questions left unanswered.
Let's see if we can answer some of your questions.
It's just that I want to know everything. Where I come from, why I possess all this power.
These are really tough questions.
He's just too adorable, I just can't. The tricks turned their witch classmate into a pumpkin. Then Flora takes her to her home. I just started imagining like what an amazing opportunity this would be to like make this a love story between a witch and a fairy. Like imagine this. When Flora is trying to figure out the magic spell to fix her, they just start talking. The more they get to know each other, the more they start to fall in love with each other. And then, finally, just the power of love is enough to turn her back into a witch. And then they live happily together forever and ever.
How could I have ever thought that the Trix's magic could be stronger than my desired... Don't worry, Murda. You'll be okay. You'll see.
Then I want to talk about my favorite storyline, and this is something that I remembered. Even though I didn't even see all the episodes, I just remembered this storyline. I thought it was so epic and amazing. Bloom has been seeing Brandon, the lackey, the servant of the Prince Sky that Stella is dating. Suddenly Brandon just becomes distant, and at the same time Bloom is just really confused about who she is and where she comes from, and at the same time she is stressed because the Trix witches just keep on attacking her. She's not in a good mental state. We find out that Brandon likes Bloom, but he is promised to marry someone else.
What do you mean? About Bloom and Diaspro.
Diaspro?
The girl I've got to marry. I don't want to. I love Bloom.
Brandon then sees Riven, who starts to diss Bloom.
Darcy told me that Bloom likes to hang out with a lot of different guys.
And then we see the most epic battle scene in all cinematic history. The Winx girls then go to see a show that the boys are having. And in the backstage, Bloom runs into a girl who is a princess and has a picture of Brandon and calls him her boyfriend. Bloom is shocked and confused. Like, why would a princess want to date a servant? This made no sense. The only logical explanation that she got was that Trix was probably doing a trick on her again. And that's so understandable. The Trix has been attacking her multiple times, and no wonder she's getting suspicious of everything. She then goes after the girl and starts grilling her about the situation. She's like, "You are the Trix." And then the girl is like, "Who the hell are you? How can you talk to me like this? I am a princess." And she's like, "What are you talking about? I'm gonna beat the truth out of you." And then the princess is like, "You're a peasant. You can't talk to me like this. I will beat you up." And then they start an epic battle. And in the other room, you hear Stella talk about how she likes that her boyfriend is a rich prince. That will turn out nicely. At the same time, the boys are now starting to do their dragon dance performance. Riven and Brandon start fighting again. They just lose their tempers, and the dragons start to act up. Then we see the most amazing dragon training technique that has ever existed.
They pitted the dragons against each other. I must intervene.
Smack the ground. Smack it. Smackity smackity. Smack the ground.
Then Bloom and the princess just break through the ground and keep on battling, and then everyone sees Bloom strike down the princess, and then Brandon runs to them, and we hear the princess call him Prince Sky and her betrothed. At the same time, Stella sees her boyfriend getting called off by the king, and she realizes that he is just a servant. Bloom then understands the situation. She is shocked. Everyone has seen her fight off a princess who is to marry the guy she likes. She is so embarrassed, so in shame, and the only logical conclusion she gets from this is that She just has to leave. Like, this is too much. I get her. Like, that would suck ass. Like, it was such a misunderstanding, an understandable one, but at the same time, everyone saw it. No one understands why she was fighting this girl. Everyone will think she was fighting her because she likes the guy, not because she thought that she was a witch. A horrible situation. And now she just wants to go to the human world. The girls try to say that you are so talented and good, you should stay here. But Bloom has made her mind up. She just wants to go home. And then she does. Yes, that could be a great mental break for her. But the problem is that there are still the 3 witches that want to attack her. And now that she is home alone without her friends, she's outnumbered by the witches. And that is also a big reason why it's so cool that there are 3 witches. If there was just 1 witch, there would be an even battle. But there are 3 witches against 1 fairy. She has no chance of winning. So now that she's alone, the witches catch her up, push her against the wall and tell her that actually we are descended from like the old witches that tried to kill you and your family and actually killed your family, and now we want your powers. And then Bloom is like, why me? And then they're like, because you're a princess. And then she's like, wah. And then they get her powers and leave. And at that point Stella comes like, come on Bloom, come back to Fairytopia. It's not fairy, it's Alfea. And then Stella is like, oh my goodness, you lost your powers, that sucks. Come back to Alfea. And then her parents are like, we don't know how to help you with this. Go back to Alfea. And then Bloom's like, yeah, I guess I need to go back. And again, such good writing. It's so understandable why she would go back. Something horrible happened to her that only magic can now fix, and she has to go back. It is just, this is the best writing I've ever seen in a show about skinny fairies. The Tricks instantly start to make plans about taking over the world. They start sending these tiny little monsters everywhere, and then the specialists are like battling the monsters, and then the princess is like, Prince Sky, you need to come. You can't be fighting with these idiots.
We're fighting to save the dimension. My place is here.
Don't be silly, you're a prince. Let these peasants fight for you.
And then Prince Sky is like,
Our duty is to...
and he stays there. Then the Winx girls try and find the castle that Bloom is from, because she's a princess, and try and see if the dragon power that Bloom lost is there. Then the specialists come and pick them up. I guess they didn't find anything, I can't remember. But the important thing that happened is that Bloom and Mr. Blondie, Prince Sky, are now talking. And the conversation is kind of a mess.
I broke it off with Gaspro.
Really? I'm sorry. I mean, no, I'm not sorry, but it's like I am, but you know what I mean.
They don't really say if they're a couple now. I guess they're not, but they do admit that they like each other. We're in a better direction, I guess. Stella and the real Brandon also have a conversation where Stella teases him and calls him a prince.
I'm scared.
Don't be, Stella. I'm here with you.
But that's exactly what I'm afraid of, my darling prince.
And then he's like, I'm sorry, I'm not a prince. And then Stella's like,
Don't worry about it, Brandon. I don't care if you're a prince or not. My parents are the king and queen of Celeria. It hasn't done them much good, has it?
both of my parents are royal and they're still getting a divorce. Then we come to a weird part. Bloom is now underneath a river. Her sister is underneath the river. Her powers should be there, I guess. And then Daphne, her sister, basically just says, no one can take away your powers. You just need to believe in yourself.
You had doubts. To recover your powers, look deep inside yourself.
And then Bloom yells, Daphne! And then she gets her powers back.
Daphne! Daphne.
Wait, what? How does this work? Like, if she just believed in herself, could it be possible that they could never steal her powers? She could have been like, no, you can't steal them. And then they're like, come on, we are doing all the right magic. And she's like, no, you can't. Or like, how are the witches still able to use her powers if Bloom got them back? Like, are the powers now doubled? I do not get it. It would have even made sense if the witches now lost their powers, but because they want an epic last battle, the witches have to have this power, but You can't have it both ways. You need to make a decision. Then we come back to the pumpkin thing. At this moment, Flora does this amazing researched magical technique of pointing both of her hands at the pumpkin and saying, "Ah!" And it works. The pumpkin turns back to a witch. But then she says, that was the key. You just had to use both of your hands.
That was the key, Flora. You see, you had to let your energy flow through both of your hands.
Wait, what? Like before, was Flora just doing this?
You could use both of your hands. Why do I feel like I'm only getting half of my power? Just please, use both of your hands. I guess it must be impossible.
Then we see the most wonderful love story of all time.
There's a tall, good-looking guy pacing up and down right under our window. And Musa, I think he wants to see you.
Don't be silly. Well, I think I'll go for a little walk. Oh, hi, Riven.
Hi, Musa. I was looking for Timmy. I thought he might be around here, but anyway, I should keep looking. Bye.
This is beautiful. Then we have the epic battle, Trix lose. The amazing love story gets a beautiful ending. Bloom and Prince Sky kiss, so I guess they're a couple now. Trixes are sent to a retreat of purification, okay? And then everyone has a party. A side note before we leave, I would like to talk a little bit about body positivity. I remember when I was a young teenager watching this show, I felt anxious about the fact that I didn't look like the girls. I wasn't big, I was very average, but I definitely didn't look like them. I think that it is important to show different types of bodies in children's media. Like, I remember reading Witch, the comic books. They had the character Irma. Yes, she was still quite small, but she had a roundness to her. And I remember feeling a lot better seeing her. It's the small things that matter. But anyway, I loved the show. It had epic battles, friendship, magic, fashion, fairies, everything. I would just love to see this as a show for adults. To see these storylines without the glitchiness of the animation, going deeper to the dramas, but at the same time keeping the humor and fun. Do you think they would ever consider making this a live-action show? That would only be awesome, right? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please comment down below which of the fairies is your favorite. I remember when I was a kid I liked Bloom the most, but now as an adult I'm like Stella.
Sky, can you believe it? An invitation to Black Lagoon sounds good, huh?
Wow! A guy who knows you and still wants to see you?
Please subscribe to my channel. It would really help me out on my YouTube journey. I'm still in a great need of help. Next video will be up on next Sunday or the week after that. Have a great week, and here are some magical kisses. Bye! Moi moi! Heippa!